Here's our Bills reporter, Dave Naylor from Orchard Park, New York. Dave, is it fair to call this one of the great playoff quarterback matchups of all time?
Well, Jay, that's an extremely high bar, but I don't know how this game isn't part of the conversation, especially in relation to the recent regular season, with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson being the two favorites to be named the NFL's MVP. Of course, Lamar Jackson already named a first-team All-Pro, Josh Allen named a second-team All-Pro. And these two players have had remarkably similar paths to this game. They were both first-round picks in the 2018 NFL Draft. Both have had remarkable careers thus far when it comes to combining their abilities to run with the football and throw it in ways that no NFL players in history have been able to accomplish. And they both come into this game very hot. Lamar Jackson, his last half dozen games, has thrown 16 touchdown passes, just one interception. Josh Allen, in his last 6, 12 touchdown passes and 1 interception. And, yet, despite all that regular season success these two have had, they've both had their challenges in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson 3-4 as a starting quarterback in the playoffs. Josh Allen 6-5, and both of them had their out game last year in the playoffs against the eventual Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. And of course, if the Chiefs can take care of business as home favorites Saturday night against the Houston Texans, the Bills and the Ravens Sunday night will be a battle for a trip to Arrowhead and the AFC Championship game. Of course, the Bills and the Ravens have already met once this season. That was back at the end of September, a 35-10 win for the Ravens, Buffalo's lowest point output of the season. And, back in the early part of the season, first half of the season, the Ravens defense was not playing very well. It was one of the weakest, in fact, in the National Football League. They really flicked the switch the second half of the season. It was one of the best. So Buffalo has a significant challenge. They're going to have to be on point Sunday night if they want to keep this game close and not let Baltimore get away from them like they did when they met back in Week 4 at Baltimore.
Speaking of that September game, that was Ravens running back Derrick Henry's biggest day of the season. 24 carries for 199 yards. How did the Bills slow him down on Sunday night, Dave?
Yes, in reference to that loss in September, Bills head coach Sean McDermott saying a lot of lessons were learned in that game. So perhaps a bit of a blessing for the Bills. But I think aside from any adjustments they may make scheme-wise, the biggest reason they feel confident that they can do a better job against the Ravens' run game is personnel. I mean, you go back to that game, the Bills were missing their entire starting second level of their defense. No slot corner Taron Johnson, no middle linebacker Terrell Bernard, no outside linebacker Matt Milano, and Taylor Rapp, their starting safety, began the game, but he went out with an injury. So certainly having those 4 players back for this game should make a considerable difference. Now, in terms of Sean McDermott's teams facing Derrick Henry, prior to that game in September, they'd actually done a very good job against him in 5 previous meetings. Henry had over 100 yards just once, and of course that was when he was with the Tennessee Titans. And I asked Sean McDermott today, is there anything you can learn from the success you've had against Derrick Henry as a coach in the past and apply it to this game Sunday night? And he hesitated. Not really, just because the dynamic of Henry and Lamar Jackson in the same backfield is just so unique. And, to try to replicate that, the Bills signed a practice roster quarterback on Wednesday, Anthony Brown out of Oregon. He'd been in the National Football League as a backup with the Ravens, played 2 games for them in 2022, and he does have some similar skill sets as Lamar Jackson. So he gets an opportunity to run the Bills scout team against their defense as they look for any edge they can get, even at this late stage, that will help them slow down what Sean McDermott called the weaponry they have in that backfield as the Bills try to get back to their first AFC Championship game since 2020, Jay.
Ravens are currently a 1.5-point favorite. The Bills have never been an underdog in their previous 18 home playoff games since they entered the league in 1970.